Congratulations, everybody. This movie is the best of the worst. Yay! I'm so proud of you guys. The best of the worst. It's fantastic. Okay, Star Wars: The Revenge of the Sith. Yep, the Sith are getting their revenge in this one. That's sure for true. Now, this prequel trilogy, for the most part, has been pretty bad. This movie is definitely a step up from the other two. It's definitely like in this one, they were like, okay, let's actually try and get it together a little bit and tell like more of a solid story. But it still suffers from a few of the same problems as the other two films, but it's just better done. All right, so let's go over what happens in this movie. So we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. They're going to rescue Chancellor Palpatine from this guy named General Grievous, who looks really cool, honestly. And I hear he's in the video games or something, because he's a really cool looking character, the way he moves. And he's a cyborg, apparently. So this guy's got General Grievous, and he ends up escaping. But in this scene, the important thing that happens is Anakin ends up totally killing Count Dooku. So it reminded me a lot. It was actually a replay of that scene between Palpatine, Vader, and Luke in Return of the Jedi, when Palpatine is urging Luke, do it, use the Force, let your hate flow through you and all that. It's the same exact thing, except Anakin obviously was unable to overcome his emotions, and he just kind of gave into his emotions, and he was manipulated by Palpatine's treachery. So he kills Count Dooku, and he's just a step further onto the dark side. So Padme also returns in this movie, but this version of Padme I have a bone to pick with. So in the other two movies, she was badass. She was fighting, she had a gun, she was doing her thing. Both those movies, she was doing cool stuff. She wasn't just sitting around all day. And I was excited about that. I was like, she's not just a damsel. But in this one, this character is completely different. So the first time we see her, she's like, I'm pregnant. And that's her role for the rest of the movie. She's a hotel lady. She's sitting in hotel rooms, crying, being all like, Anakin, oh, I love you so much. She's not even speaking the same. She's not even the same character. That was very, very annoying. I'm not sure what happened with this character. It's like this character had a little bit of depth in the first two movies. And then now she's just a side character. She's just literally Anakin's girlfriend, and that's kind of not cool. It's kind of a complete waste of this character and of Natalie Portman, and that really, really is a shame. If this character had been better, this movie would have been a lot better, I think. And can I just say her death was really silly? I haven't gotten to that yet, but her death was just made no sense. It was really silly. But anyway, Anakin starts having visions about her dying in childbirth, right? Sound familiar? Sounds familiar to me. That's right out of Dune Messiah. People get mad at me when I say that Star Wars is ripping from Dune, but that's right out of Dune Messiah. And then what happens at the end with the twins, right out of Dune Messiah, he's like having visions about her dying in childbirth, and then she dies in childbirth and gives birth to surprise twins. That's exactly like Dune Messiah. But anyway, so Anakin is getting closer and closer to Palpatine, but the Jedi won't make Anakin a full Jedi yet. They kind of don't trust him, just for some reason. But anyway, Chancellor Palpatine is like, you know what, screw you guys. Anakin gets to be on the Jedi Council, and he is my representative on the Jedi Council. And so the Jedi are kind of pissed off about this. They're like, okay, Anakin, you can be on the Jedi Council or whatever, but you got to spy on Palpatine for us. And this makes Anakin like not really trust the Jedi either. So here's the thing. There's weirdness with the Jedi. Like their whole bureaucracy system is kind of weird, how they say they're like not a part of the government, but they are a part of the government. It's like their whole thing is weird. So I get why Anakin was kind of like, hey, you guys kind of suck too. But also Anakin, like, open your eyes. Palpatine is like not a good guy. Listen to this advice. None of this is good. But anyway, Palpatine is able to manipulate Anakin because he knows that Anakin is having visions about Padme dying in childbirth. And he's talking all of this stuff about how he knows how to prevent people from dying. It's a part of a different side of the Force that he can tap into called the dark side. And he tempts Anakin by telling him that he knows about the dark side, and he can teach Anakin how to use it, and he can have the power to save Padme. I will say this, Anakin isn't a total dimwit because he's not fully convinced immediately. He knows there's something up, so he kind of figures out, I guess, that Palpatine is like a Sith Lord, and he's responsible for this whole droid war that's popped off suddenly. So he informs Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu, I think is the character's name. He's like, Samuel, this guy, he's Sith. And so Mace Windu, he confronts Palpatine and he almost kills this dude. I was like, yes, kill him. But I knew he wasn't going to kill him because I know this is a prequel and this guy's in the original one. So I knew something was going to happen. But then Anakin, even though he turned the guy in, he betrays Samuel L. Jackson and attacks his fellow Jedi for this clearly evil guy, and then pledges himself to the Sith. And I was like, what? I'm like, what? That was stupid. I was so pissed off at Anakin, and I don't feel like his action was really justified. I'm like, why did you know he started this war, you know he's a Sith Lord, you turned him in the Mace Windu. What do you think Mace Windu's gonna do? Just let him live? Like, that was so dumb. I don't get it. And then after that, Anakin is just full on evil. It's a complete shift from that point on. He's full on evil and he kills children. He just goes in and kills a bunch of children. And from that point on, I was like, no, I can't possibly root for this character. I'm not supposed to root for this character anymore. That's obvious. But also the thing is, it was kind of heavy-handed. It's kind of heavy-handed how they have to like show him we have to see him kill kids. Well, we don't see it, but he has to kill kids for us to be like, okay, now he's bad. I feel like there are more subtle ways to do this. There's more subtle ways to take a character from, good, innocent to bad. I feel like in this movie, the shift is just a little bit too sudden. And I know you might come in and say, well, Palpatine has been coaching him this entire time and putting little things in his head. But ultimately, Anakin still knew right from wrong up until that point because he turned Palpatine in. So if he didn't know what Palpatine had done up until this point was wrong, why would he have even turned him in? So it doesn't make sense for Anakin to make that shift so suddenly and to basically condemn Mace Windu to death. I guess he's dead, but as I figured out at this point that anytime somebody falls off of something in Star Wars and we don't see their mangled body, they're gonna show up again. So he's probably not dead. He probably shows up in like a book or video game or something, I don't know. But for him to go from that to just killing children was insane to me. And so Natalie Portman's character finds out about what he's done and she's like, oh no, there's still good in him somehow. And I don't understand how she can be like, there's still good in him. He killed children. Once you kill a group of children, that's kind of irredeemable. I get that they're trying to make a callback to the original trilogy when Luke is like, I know there's still good in him, but I'm sorry, that does not work in this movie when I just saw him kill a bunch of kids. I'm not trying to think about someone being a good person after you just kill a room full of like 12 kids or something. I don't want it. They're not a good person. No. There's no good in that. So while Anakin is killing all the kids, Palpatine executes Order 66, which I guess was meant to be this battle station is fully operational moment from, Return of the Jedi. But this time, I think this is, from what I can gather, this killing of all the Jedi is a big event in Star Wars history. This is a big moment, and it seems like it kind of happens. It happens in a montage here, which is a little weird, I gotta say. I feel like a lot of this movie was fluff, and I wish that part of it could have been stretched out. That part of it, the Jedi being hunted down and killed, could have been a whole movie. And it could have been an entire long thing. So I don't understand why it happens in a montage. That's a little weird. But the idea of like that happening and the clones suddenly activating and turning on all the Jedi, that's super cool. But the way it happens, so like it's kind of like, it just feels like kind of sloppy and kind of rushed. So like I said, good idea, kind of sloppy, kind of rushed. And that's kind of the theme for this movie, in my opinion. There's some good ideas and concepts, some of them borrowed from other places, but kind of sloppily done. And so at the climax of this movie, we've got Obi-Wan, we've got Padme, and we've got Anakin. They're on a volcano planet, and Anakin is just freaking out. His eyes are red. He's mad at Padme for no reason. He chokes her and throws her on the ground while she's heavily pregnant with child. I'm like, dude, why'd you do that? And then he screams at Obi-Wan and he's like, you turned her against me. Like, dude, he didn't turn her against you. You turned her against you. And she's not even against you. She's still trying to help you. Like, his actions just make no sense. I totally understand that when it comes to the Sith, it's about like giving in to the emotion, but it's like he just seems volatile suddenly, and I don't fully understand what's triggering this volatile nature suddenly. But anyway, he throws her on the ground. She dies shortly after that. I'm not sure if we're meant to think that he contributed to her death or what, but yeah, she dies later. But, you know, we have Obi-Wan and Anakin. They have this, okay, I'll just have to say, over the top, but cool looking lightsaber battle on like a lava planet that makes no sense. They both should have been burning up the entire time, but whatever. It's Star Wars. I totally get it. It did look a little silly. It was like kind of going overboard with the CGI. But the final climactic moment, which, you know, Ewan McGregor is at his best, I think, at this moment when he like looks back and we see the burning limbs cut off, almost corpse of Anakin Skywalker, and he looks back at him and says, he said, "You were supposed to be the chosen one, you know, yeah, you were supposed to, you bring balance to the Force, and you did the opposite of that, and how could you have done this?" So more of that should have been in the movie. More emphasis on what is happening, because what's happening here is like, I know I'm gonna make people mad by saying this, but this is a cheap version of the Paul Atreides story in Dune. You have Paul Atreides who starts off with these good intentions, and then, you know, devastating things happen because of it. So he goes from protagonist to kind of an antagonist. So, but here we have, you know, Anakin, who starts off with this innocent boy. He sees problems within the Jedi, problems which definitely exist, but then also he's manipulated by Palpatine, and it's just like, that could have been a much better story. That could have been more solid if they had really focused on, you know, the subtleties of Anakin's development into, you know, becoming more of a bad guy. I felt like they were kind of afraid for most of this movie and for most of, I think, the series to show it. And so when it finally happens and he's suddenly killing kids, it's just jarring. So anyways, the rest, I guess, is history. So we got Palpatine. He finds Darth Vader, and he puts him in the suit, and, you know, Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and we see Darth Vader, and Padme is dead, but she has given birth to twins and died in childbirth, which is just like Dune, but we won't get into that. Anyway, they send the kids, Luke and Leia, to different places in the world. I mean, in the universe, I mean, they send them to different places. They're on different planets. Luke is on Tatooine. Princess Leia is on that one planet, Alderaan. I remembered it. I didn't even have to look it up. That gets blown up in A New Hope. So she's there, and, you know, they're separated, and they're hiding the twins from the Empire. They're hiding the twins from Anakin. They're hiding the twins from Palpatine. And that is the end of the second Star Wars trilogy, the prequel trilogy. All right, so this movie, like I said, was a lot easier to get through than those first two. This movie had significant issues, but it is definitely a step better. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but kind of a step in the right direction too soon, because most of the trilogy is bad. Even this movie is not enough to save this trilogy. Even this movie considered, the trilogy itself is, it's not there. I can't reasonably call it a good trilogy. I call this movie decent. This movie is like a C+. This movie is competent, but did knock my socks off. Like I said, Natalie Portman's character suddenly changing to be like this weird damsel, not good. Anakin's sudden shift, not good. Still way too much CGI, and it still just overall suffered from the problems that prequels often suffer from, because, you know, nothing is really surprising if you see the original thing. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. I know a lot of you are waiting on this Revenge of the Sith review. Next, I'll be moving into the Disney Star Wars movies, and I'll do Solo, and I'll do Rogue One, and I'll do Force Awakens, and all the ones that come after that. And it's gonna be fun, so stay tuned. Peace out, guys.
Well, I think you're completely wrong. Clearly the prequels are the superior films, far better than the Disney crap.
Well, yeah, thanks for your input.
Well, you know, in my opinion, I think that...
I didn't ask that.
You know, in my opinion, Phantom Menace is the
I said I
greatest
didn't
Star
ask.
Wars movie of all time. I should start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna start my own YouTube channel, and it's gonna be better than this crap.
Whatever, dude.
I'm getting out of here.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Quinn's ideas. Peace out.